What up? And welcome to another episode of From the Script to the Screen, Kaiju number 8 edition. First and foremost, as always, got a shout out to the creator, Naoya Matsumoto. I want to give a shout out to the studio for making the anime, Production IG. I was actually able to catch the live broadcast today. Episode 4 is out now, so it was actually pretty fun. Makes you feel like you're watching a news broadcast, like you're watching the defensive force going out and doing their thing. So it was pretty cool. 10 a.m. on the East Coast if you're ever able to catch it. But getting into the episode, leaving us off with what happened last week. We know that they're undergoing the training exam, and Kafka ended up getting hurt, and Kikoru stepped in. And so in this episode, like I said, you guys see why she's one of my favorites. She has a high affinity with the suit, and so we see why she's so good in combat. We see how quick she's able to take out the other kaiju, and even the big kaiju, Honju, if I'm not mistaken in the pronunciation. We see how swift she's able to move in combat, and she's just able to take them out no problem, hit them right where she needs to, and getting on. And throughout the episode, we see why. In her flashback, you see that her father, who's a director of the defensive force, put a lot of pressure on her, and so she's been working with drive and determination since he was young. We see even when she ends up getting in a tough situation, see that she's still trying to get rid of the revived kaiju, which I'll get into that later. But shout out to Kafka, who, even though he didn't want to, we know that he's in a sticky situation being in the headquarters of the people that eliminate the kaiju. But again, with these special circumstances, he has no choice but to transform and take on the revived Honju. In this episode, they covered chapters 6 through 10, jumping into volume 2. And so why I said I wanted to get back later into the revived Honju is because in this episode, even though we do see that Kafka's fortitude is 9.8 compared to the Honju that was 6.8 after it came back to life, he would be considered one of the strongest kaiju in history. And why it's interesting is because at the end of the episode, the big reveal is that we see there's another kaiju that's able to transform from human to monster. And so we also see that it's part of the cleanup service, and so there's another kaiju that's able to transform from human to monster and has actually infiltrated because it's part of the cleanup service that Kafka also works for. So we'll have to see what this person's intent is, because they're obviously on the kaiju side and have power over them. So we'll see what happens next week. Let me know what you guys thought about the episode. Peace.